industry in operating one of the most innovative digital consumer information systems in the entire industry. And in spirits, our ambition on consumer information, just to put the broader context, was enshrined in our Memorandum of Understanding, which we signed in the presence of the Health Commissioner in June 2019. And that's our vision for wine. As many of you will know, the new rules on digital labeling, and that is truly remarkable, were enshrined in one of the oldest union policies that is often misunderstood and criticized as being outdated or just a subsidy payment system. And that's the Common Agricultural Policy. So I think that truly was an act of legislative innovation. So once again, thank you for being here today. I hand over to the President of Comitiva.
J'ai envie de vous dire bonsoir en français tout d'abord. Good evening, everyone. So I'm very pleased to have a lot of faces smiling because we have seen there is some battles later, and to spend a bit of conviviality together. It will be very good, you know, by this strange time. Thank you, Ulrich. As you know, and before going in details in the EU label, you know, system and by Ignacio, I want to say a few words just to tell you, first of all, it's a very important project to make all the wine companies much closer to our consumers and customers, to give them more information on ingredients, on the energy, on, I would say, all the things, you know, that could related to health. How, I would say, to drink in moderation, I would say, and how to really appreciate all our products we are producing around Europe without not disturbing our packaging, because I would say which is very key for all the marketers and the companies is clearly, you know, to have their packaging with this, would say QR codes. Now we know how to use it, and QR codes will be a very good system, you know, to give directly to the consumers the information they want to have. So I'm very pleased with this project, and you will discover it with Ignacio. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Thank you, Ulrich. Thank you, Claire and Simone, for being here. It's a strange moment, isn't it? We see each other the legs normally. We are above the chest. Exactly. So I'm extremely happy to be here because it's a change. I feel very strange before arriving here and having some business card with me. It's strange, and I think we need to adapt to the new times. We are here to talk about U-label. So U-label, e-labels. It's strange. We talk about digital, but sometimes we don't know the complexity and the usefulness of these tools. So we decided to create a platform called U-label, which is there to boost product information and to allow companies to better communicate with their consumers and consumers to be empowered about the product they want to consume. U-label is, we created with the idea of creating an environment which is secure, not just for companies, but also for consumers. Trusted and secure for companies who wanted to jump into the digital so that they can put the information in an easy way with a legal expertise behind, knowing that they will be legal compliant, and facilitating the technicalities of creating e-labels. At the same time, for consumers, it was important for them to be directed to an environment which is trusted, which is fair, and which present the information in a fairly way so that they are empowered to take their choices. So it's this link between products and consumers. We talk a lot about e-labels, but I would like to detail a little bit what that means. E-labels is just a digital label. So it's about a piece of information which concerns a concrete product for a concrete market and which is available to the consumer through the website, through the network, internet. So it's a digital label. And each time that a producer company, wine, spirits, or biscuit producer is printing something for his packaging, instead of printing it, he will be putting online. So it's exactly the same principle. So this is an e-label. The second concept that is important to understand is that we are creating an environment in which we have one product for one market and with a unique QR code. So we are, in a certain way, protecting and facilitating, protecting the single market and facilitating that our companies can enjoy from the single market. Single market, I mean, we have the Commission here, we have the EU presidency, I think is one of the most beautifulness of important basis of the European Union. So for a single product, you can print a unique QR code, circulate it in the European Union, and circulate it even beyond the European Union without changing the labeling. We are talking about the European Union, we are talking about the single market. What is the single market? Single market is a unique economic space, but 24 different linguistic versions. With the digital, what we are able to achieve is that a consumer scans the QR code that has been produced in our platform, and because of thanks to the geolocalization, the consumer will be able to be directed to the language most appropriate to him because of his local position, or because if he's a tourist, he will be able to shift from one language to the other. Sometimes we think about the importance of having access to the information on the label, but when we look at the statistics and we see how many tourists in Portugal coming from Germany or from Sweden are tasting one of the wonderful wines that we have there, or a wonderful spirit, and they are not able to understand what is on the label because they don't speak Portuguese. If I put myself in Finland, I will have real problems to understand the back of a label. With the digital, I can empower myself, or the company can empower me, and we can protect the single market. So enough speak about the theory, let's go for the practicalities, the platform. So the website is there. I get my connection details and I enter as a company, and I'm directed to the first page. The first page is just the structure of the website. We are creating legal modules for the three categories of products: wine, aromatized wine, and spirit drinks. And then we decide which is the origin of the data. Manually, I can import them from a GS1 database, or eventually I can duplicate an existing label. So imagine you are producing a wine for the harvest 2015. The year after, you produce more or less the same wine. You can duplicate the existing information. It facilitates the life of companies. And for the moment, we are just targeting the European Union, but the idea is to extend the ambition, or the ambition is to extend this project so that under a unique QR code, we will have also the UK relevant information, the Swiss information, etc., etc. After having decided which of the products you are going to enter the information, you need to define the reference language. So as the platform, one of the biggest innovation of this platform is that we have an automatized translation of the information. So we take a reference language, and then the platform will translate it automatically into the 23 other official languages of the European Union. A single market, but 24 languages. I select my category. So you have all the categories for wines, for aromatized wines, and for spirits. And then you jump into the next step, which is entering the information. We took a very restrictive vision of what is an e-label and what should be inside. Some of our companies may not be very happy. They wanted more flexibility because flexibility and business is always good. But we take a very strict vision in collaboration with the European Commission, DG Agri and DG SANTE. So we have some compulsory information. If you want to have your e-label, you need to include information about the product, identification of the product. We want the consumer to be sure that when he's scanning a product, the information he's having on his telephone is relevant, he's secure that he's looking at the right information. They are obviously mandatory information, list of ingredients and nutritional declaration. This is the basis or the genesis of the project, and also some responsible consumption messages. We wanted to use this to empower consumers on how to better enjoy our products. We have some authorized information, which are mentions, mainly mentions that are regulated under the European Union law, information on sustainability, and we want to develop this part, more information about responsible consumption, an external link to the companies. So it's an external, no marketing information is outside. When you enter into the details, you have image of the product, name of the product, etc., the logos of the European Union. You have all the menus of terms that are regulated under European Union law. This product sheet is specific for the category of product. If it is a wine or a spirits, is different, etc. When we jump to one of the tricky elements, which is the list of ingredients, obviously the company will be able to create a list of ingredients manually, copy and paste, but we realize firstly that we will be missing the capacity of automatic translation and empowering companies to move freely within the European Union. And secondly, there is a lack of expertise on how to set a list of ingredients. So specifically for each category of product, and you have on the screen for a vodka, on the basis of the legislation, the memorandum of understanding, expertise from our experts in the companies, we have created a wizard where you have just to tick the substance that you have used, the raw materials you use for the production. Is very easy for vodka. And the system put it in place in a way which is in line with the European legislation. And we have developed wizard for wines, sparkling wines, liquor wines, vermouths, etc., and all the categories of the spirit drinks. We have a system of drag-in box because it remains, we wanted to have to give the power, empower also the food business operator, is his responsibility to set it right. So we propose something, and if he decides to change the order of the ingredients because he has been using more must or more aromas, etc., he can play with it, but there is a real expertise behind. Another fundamental element, which is mandatory to finalize the e-labels, is the nutritional declaration. So over there also we have developed some wizards, some calculators to facilitate the life of the companies. And because it's always about empowering consumers, you have on the screen the example of a vodka, of a product, the product we have before. The legislation imposed us to communicate on the basis of 100 milliliters, but in the case of spirit drinks, it may be more relevant to communicate on the basis of a portion. So for the spirit sector, it is mandatory also to communicate the nutritional declaration on the basis of the portion, which is much more relevant for the consumers. When you have finalized your sheet, I think you can do it faster than my speech. You arrive to the next step, which is the automatic translation. There, as again, it is the responsibility of the food business operator. It's up to him to validate each one of the official languages. It's his responsibility. We are there to support him, to help him, but we are not taking a decision on his basis. So he will be able to compare the translation that has been automatically done, and then he will be able to validate the languages. Once he has validated the language, he's ready for the confirmation. The system will create two things: a URL, so a web page where the consumer, if he knew it by heart, will be able to tap on Google and arrive, and a QR code, which is the fundamental link between the product and the consumer. So again, theory, practical, but let's go for the real thing. So I hope you charge your smartphones so you can, if you want, scan any of those products. There are those products that are also on the tables. And you will be able to access the labels of real products printed with the real ingredients, real nutritional declaration, real information on the sustainability, etc., etc. And you will see on the examples that we have taken, one of the QR codes is from a small Belgian company who commercialize its products exclusively in Belgium. So for him, it was very useful to be able to automatically translate all the information into the 3 official languages of Belgium, which sometimes a small barrier within the single market and within the Belgian territory. So you have big and small companies that are able to enjoy from this tool. Yep, I will take it. Don't worry, you have the product sheets on the tables. You will be able to scan them after. Some dates, important dates, we like anniversaries. Today, 30th of September, proud and happy to be here to launch the platform. We have tested with 16 companies who have helped us to set it right. The platform functions, and the platform will go live on the 1st of November. There is a gap of 1 month. Some technical adjustments are needed, but most importantly, we are going to do a road trip or an internet trip to the rest of Europe to train the people, to communicate to the people on how to use the platform, how they can enjoy from it. And then on the 1st of November, El Día de Todos los Santos, the platform will be live. So thank you very much. And I think we will pass to the video of our companies, real testimonies of people who have tried, decided to jump onto the digital with us. Thank you.
RAP is very proud to be one of the first companies to have joined the U-Label project. Guided by our global sustainability approach, we work every day to inspire happier and healthier lives. With this innovative platform, we're able to provide information to our consumers and promote a more responsible wine consumption. This way, our winemaking tradition meets state-of-the-art digital tool for a promising journey towards a better and more transparent future.
Latvia's Balsams team is happy to participate in e-label initiative. We believe this is the best way to make product information available for any consumer on request in a compliant, efficient and sustainable manner. Easy access, no additional packaging, no waste, and always up-to-date information. Great.
For MGM, the main benefit of the U-Label platform is that it simplifies our lives as a wine company. We have an easy tool which is permanently updated to offer all the information that the consumer asks and for anticipating the legal requirements included in the future EU wine regulation. Affordable for any company, regardless of its size, and easy to manage. Thank you for the opportunity.
Located here at the very edge of Europe in County Kerry, Ireland, on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, we here at Skellig 618 Distillery are delighted to work with Spirits Europe and be part of the e-label initiative. We hope to bring information to consumers about our products, and we are honoured to be part of this great initiative. Thank you.
U-Label is the best solution for small companies such as Melmont to start engaging in digital consumer information. This very intuitive platform allows us to both create and manage our own e-labels in all languages at a very affordable cost. On top, it allows us to be legally compliant.
At Lochary Distillery, we're proud to be part of the new e-label platform project, enabling us to provide more consumer information on our products. As we launch a new brand, this easy-to-use platform allows us the opportunity to provide information in a consistent, best-practice way with our consumers across the EU.
The U-Label platform is a new technology that really brings many new features for brands to talk with our customers, enhancing the origin, the sources, the transparency. We at Ramon Bilbao and at Zamora Company really believe that the correct use of this platform will greatly enhance our ability to interact with our customers and want to take it forward.
I'm Fraser Birch, Branch Packaging Manager at Edrington. Edrington is committed to promoting responsible consumption of our ultra-premium spirits. So we are really pleased to be part of the e-label pilot programme through the famous grouse. as we believe it is an effective way for us to provide our consumers with important information on nutrition, ingredients and sustainability to help people make positive choices about alcohol.
Digital labels are the solution to offer the consumer transparent and complete information on wine, integrating the information that may be contained in the limited space of the label. We are proud that Masi has been selected by Federvin and Comitaven to represent Italy in the pilot project that allowed to create an advanced platform to generate digital labels for wine.
At Rémy Cointreau, we are very proud to be part of the e-label platform project initiated by the wine and spirits industry, following the EU call for more consumer information on our products. With this project, we demonstrate the capacity and the sense of responsibility of our sector with the aim of responding to market and regulatory expectations. Although implementing a QR code process is much more complex than it appears in operational terms, we believe that transparency is key to further increase consumer trust in our industry. I wish all the best to the new e-label platform.
In a digital era where we are all eager to know more about all our brands, we decided to join the pilot of the EU-label platform with our Zonin Pinot Grigio, in order not only to provide consumers with more relevant information about our wine, but also to let them embrace the heritage and the philosophy of our company from the beginning of our journey. Moreover, being geolocalized, the EU label offers the opportunity to speak to our consumers and prospects in their own language. This was a tremendous opportunity we didn't want to miss.
Hi, I'm Paul from O Benefício, and we are very happy to be the first craft distillery in Portugal to provide detailed consumer information on our products, both physical and digital label, from a simple scan of a QR code. Best of luck, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I take those videos more as a tribute to the companies who have supported us, that a video of them supporting us. So thank you very much to those 16 companies. I think we have Commissioner Wojciechowski online. Commissioner.
Thank you for this interesting introduction and presentation of your shared e-label platform, and for giving me the opportunity to speak to you. The Commission has always appreciated your proactive attitude towards increasing information for consumers. Ever since the 2017 Commission report on the ingredients and nutrition labeling of alcoholic beverages, which invited the industry to submit self-regulatory proposals, your commitment and efforts have been impressive. After agreeing with the Commission on a self-regulatory memorandum of understanding, the spirit drink sector is successfully delivering on its commitments and shown its first progress report presented earlier this year. Now the launch of the e-label platform marks the delivery of the commitment to provide consumers with information online. Concerning wine and aromatized wine products, thanks to the recent CAP reform, the EU legislation will include for the first time rules on the mandatory provision of nutritional and ingredients information, most of which can be supplied off-label through a digital support. Although these provisions will only become applicable 2 years after the entry into force of this new legislative text and pending the adoption of the secondary legislation needed for its implementation. The efforts already made by your sector to already move in this direction are impressive. In particular, we applaud to the initiative of ensuring that the platform you developed is available for any producer who can benefit from your work for a collective e-label system. This is in line with the new European Union Green Deal and the Farm to Fork strategy, which call on the Commission to explore new ways to provide information to consumers through other means, including digital, in view of improving the accessibility of food information. This initiative certainly helps also to reinforce of food information. This initiative certainly helps also to reinforce the single market by facilitating the circulation of goods. It is undeniable that such digitalization progress has accelerated in the last months due to restriction we will experience during the COVID-19 crisis. For instance, accessing restaurant menus through our mobile phones is now a practice more and more familiar to consumers. Your proactive approach is all the more important given the large number of small producers, especially in the wine, but also in the spirit drink sector. Initiatives like EU label, which are open to everybody in democratic, uncomplicated and inexpensive way, can make the difference. It is equally important to seize the occasion to improve and boost producers' communication towards consumers on how they produce their alcoholic beverages. Your digital platform allows you to do this across borders in any language. Digital consumer information is in line with the European idea of the leaving no one behind. The digital space will also allow for further demand for information, such as on the sustainability of production systems, which would be a very welcome step to bring producers and consumers closer together. Thinking ahead, the works that you are undertaking regarding the use of e-labels to provide relevant consumers information are helpful for possible future developments. With its Europe's Beating Cancer Plan published last February, the European Commission is now committed to cancer prevention, treatment and care, aiming in particular at raising awareness of and address key risk factors, among which is harmful alcohol consumption. Among the initiatives listed in the Beating Cancer Plan, the Commission will submit legislative proposals for the mandatory labeling of the list of ingredients and the Nutrition Declaration for all alcoholic beverage before the end of 2022. In this context, the Commission reserves its rights to come back also on the labeling provisions for wine and aromatized wine products. However, building on the progress already achieved, I am sure we will arrive at a solution that will be beneficial for all concerned actors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner, for this 360 degrees vision on the digital, on wines and spirits legal framework. I'm sure that there will be plenty of questions for you on the future of legislation and how the Commission and DG Agri in particular will deal with these new challenges and opportunities. We have the chance to have the three decision makers, or two decision makers plus the Commission around the table. I'm happy to give the floor to Simona, representing the Slovenian presidency. Simona?
Yeah. Good afternoon to everybody, dear ladies and gentlemen, members of the European Parliament and the representative of the spirit drinks and the wine industry. I'm really happy to be here today and to participate at the launch of this e-platform, because it's for me, it's kind of a very tangible implementation of rules which we have adopted, maybe not yet formally adopted in the last reform. And I had the privilege also to be present at the negotiation process, but also then when we finalized the texts. And I would not like to repeat all the policy context, which was already mentioned by the commissioner, but would just like to say that it was for me interesting that when we are talking about these new labeling provisions, which we have adopted for the wine and this aromatized wines, it was actually the sector who came with the proposal and showed this preparedness to go a step forward, taking into account maybe already legislation which will come, which will be adopted later on. So this was for me very impressive. And I would also like to thank for the concrete presentation of the use of this platform coming from a small wine producing country. I mean, small, but with really good wines, Slovenia. It's clear that such an approach offers opportunities also for smaller producers, which I find particularly important. And I would also agree with the commissioner that this proactiveness of the sector, which you showed, also gives us a bright future of the sector, despite the fact that in particular the wine sector has been hit hard by the COVID situation. It has adapted very, very fastly to the new challenges, but also in terms of expecting this sector to be also innovative when we talk about transition to more sustainable food systems, even giving more information to consumers and maybe integrating also those aspects in a further step in your label. I would like to stop here because I would like to give the others also the floor, but again, congratulations for this initiative, and I will surely be also in private a user of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that we have the chair, Irène Tolleret, online.
Buenas tardes y un saludo a todos mis amigos del Comité de Vinos y de Spirits Europe. Me habría encantado poder acompañaros hoy físicamente en Bruselas en la presentación de la plataforma ULabel, pero mis obligaciones laborales me lo impiden. Sin embargo, no quería dejar pasar la oportunidad de daros la enhorabuena por este nuevo logro. El sector del vino y los espirituosos en Europa es un sector enraizado en la tradición, en una historia que se remonta siglos atrás. De hecho, la idea misma de poner etiquetas comienza de la mano del vino en el antiguo Egipto. Fue precisamente en un túmulo funerario egipcio donde se encontró la que se considera una de las primeras etiquetas de la historia, una tablilla sobre un recipiente de vino en el que consta el origen y el nombre del bodeguero. Desde entonces, las etiquetas, los vinos y las bebidas espirituosas han evolucionado de la mano. En el siglo XVII se empezaron a añadir las primeras etiquetas de papel. Con la revolución industrial se automatizaron los procesos de etiquetado y ahora asistimos a una nueva revolución, la llamada revolución digital. Esta plataforma es un hito más de un sector que no deja de innovar, de repensar esa tradición y de proyectarla hacia el futuro. Una muestra de los numerosos esfuerzos del sector por aportar mayor y mejor información al consumidor de manera más transparente. Un intento de acercarse a los consumidores más jóvenes acostumbrados a consultar todo tipo de información directamente desde su teléfono móvil. Y un ejemplo del orgullo de su producto que tienen viticultores, bodegueros y productores y su deseo de compartirlo con toda la sociedad. Como liberal, este es, en mi opinión, el mejor de los enfoques posibles. Iniciativas que parten desde el propio sector, de las que todos los europeos nos beneficiamos, sin necesidad de imponer obligaciones y regular todo desde las instituciones. Brindo hoy porque esta plataforma sirva para ayudar a muchas empresas de vino y bebidas espirituosas y a informar mejor y de manera mucho más sencilla. Por todo ello, recibir mi más sincera enhorabuena.
Thank you. Mr. Thoido, MEP Thoido is now in Cyprus for work, so he was unable to join us. I think we may have Irène Tolleret. If not, we will give the floor to Madame Bury. Claire, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ignacio. It's really nice to be here. This is my first time out in the last 18 months, I think. No, it's very exciting. But it's nice not just to see everybody's legs, but it's nice to be able to look you in the eye and talk to you and maybe raise a glass afterwards as well. So I think Commissioner Wojciechowski said it very eloquently. We in the Commission really welcome this platform. We're really grateful to you for all the work that's gone into it. And we're looking forward to see how it works in practice. I think, Ulrich, as you said, it delivers on commitments that you made back in the Memorandum of Understanding in 2019, when the Commission invited the industry to look into this and to go ahead. And also, I think, Simone, I agree with what you said, that it's good to see your sector being so proactive as well. You were doing that, I think, during the negotiations, and we really welcome that from the point of view of the regulators. Commissioner Wojciechowski mentioned it as well, of course, the Farm to Fork strategy, which talks about empowering consumers, improving the information that consumers have. And then, of course, we have the Europe Beating Cancer Plan, which further stresses the importance of fighting against the harmful effects of alcohol. I hear all of you speaking in very measured terms about that today. And also about providing information about ingredients and the Nutrition Declaration for all alcoholic beverages. I think we need consistency of approach here across the piece. So, as Commissioner Wojciechowski mentioned in the recent CAP review, the co-legislators have already underlined the need for providing consumers with information on a mandatory basis now. We think this is a very good start from a DG SANTE perspective. We think it's a really good start, but we have to work collectively to achieve the efforts that we set out in Farm to Fork and now in the Beating Cancer Action Plan. We have, as you know, I think we're in Brussels, so I can use Brussels speak. We've launched an impact assessment with the view to having a legislative proposal on the food information to consumers legislation by the end of 2022. And I think that will set out a framework, a new framework for all alcoholic beverages. Now we're trying, and in the Inception impact assessment that we already launched and put out for comments, we talked about the possible use of digital tools because we want to be innovative as well, and we want to take account of developments. So we're doing an exploratory study on new ways of providing information. But that said, of course, we have to have information that is relevant for consumers, that is full for consumers, and that consumers will read as well. Which is why it's also going to be very interesting to see what happens. Yes, we're all now familiar with QR codes. It's become part of they've become part of our daily lives. But I think we have to see whether they will actually be used now by the consumers in this context and how informative they're going to be. So we're going to be looking at that very closely now as we're in the run up to the Food for Information Consumers proposal. Thank you very much. You're making a really valuable contribution. We will build on what you have done, and we want to continue working with you as we go forward now. Thank you.
I think we have Irène.
Yes, you hear me? Sorry, I was disconnected. So thank you very much. And also big congratulations to the wine and spirit sector for having launched this initiative. The world is moving very quickly, and especially with these new technologies. So the way we communicate with each other is also changing. In a short period, smartphones have become a part of our everyday life, and it's we've seen with COVID and the QR codes and everything that it can have a lot of new role in our life. So I think we should not be afraid of that. On the contrary, that we should take advantage of the benefit that this revolution, technological revolution brings to us. As you all know, the European Parliament has been at the front line of the political discussions on digital labelling. The new reform on the Common Market Organization will, for the first time, allow labeling the list of ingredients and nutritional information in the wine sector through digital means. Most of the political groups in the European Parliament have strongly supported this idea, which represents an intelligent precedent that may influence future legislative decisions in other sectors, including the spirits sector. I really applaud Spirits Europe for promoting a voluntary digital labeling in its memorandum of understanding linked to the food information to consumers legislation. In the age of digitalization, we cannot rule out smart solutions to increase the transparency of the information delivered to consumers. This is a win-win solution since, on one hand, consumers would obtain more complete information about the product they buy, including sustainability measures, and on the other hand, it would reduce the economic cost for companies which have to comply more and more with strict labeling provisions. Using this tool to promote moderate consumption of alcohol is an excellent idea. This is in line with the social expectation and is coherent with the new Green Deal strategies. I thank you very much for inviting me to this presentation again, and congratulations once again for this extraordinary work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Irène. Do not detonate yourself, because maybe there will be some questions for you. And now I think we can open the floor.
I stay.
Perfect. We can open the floor, and maybe the first thing, if someone in here wants to, please.
Sarah Lewis, European Food Law. I would just like to know, the system is open to other people. Could any food and drink company, could like a Coca-Cola use it?
Sarah Lewis, European Food Law. So is this open to any food and drink company? Could Coca-Cola use it? Could Unilever use it? And to Claire Berry, is the Commission considering this for all food and drinks? Are you going to have a digital revolution and get rid of maybe all the labeling on packaging?
On the first one, if Coca-Cola and Unilever start to produce wine, aromatized wine or spirits, obviously. Now, if you have seen the structure of the website is very much based on legislation. There is a lot of expertise behind. So yes, in the future, if the Commission wish, digital labeling and this platform can be open to the rest of the products, but today will not be relevant for them, because all the attributes, all the information, all the small cells that you have in the platform are relevant for the wine legislation, for the spirit legislation, and aromatized wine legislation. But I want to seize the occasion of your question to underline that even if Comité Vin and Spirits Europe participated to the financing of the platform is not owned by our organization, so there is no royalties on it. And secondly, it is open to anyone, not just our members. So any wine company that wants to, or spirit company that wants to commercialize a bottle in the European Union market can use it. So it is not just non-members of Comité Vin or non-members of Spirits Europe, but even a Chinese producer of wine wanted to put a bottle, or a Chilean producer of wine wanted to put a bottle in the single market, will have the possibility to use the platform.
I think just to quickly add, indeed, I mean, what we've seen in Ignacio's presentation was just the top of the iceberg of the detail that's behind, and we both have detailed sector-specific legislation in spirits and wine. So there's I think that just mentioning the hours and days and weeks of work that going into that. And the other point, as Ignacio mentioned and was mentioned before, is really, and that's the important point, I think, for future legislative guidance as well in legislation and digital labeling, is that our aim as associations is to create sort of say a level playing field for all producers, and that's so it must be a competitive level playing field. I've no doubt that if big food players like Coca-Cola want to, or they may actually already be developing it and launching it tomorrow. I think that, you know, that's another endeavor then for small wine producers or craft distillers. And the key thing I think the Commission should keep in mind as well, there is this sort of say, you know, importance that infrastructure is being provided and opened up to sectors or food operators that indeed no one is left behind. And that's particularly pronounced in spirits and wine, where it's just a long tail of small producers who wouldn't have the own means, time and investment to do this. And I think that's the big achievement as well of the platform, that really, as you saw in the videos, it's big and small united here, and we're moving together as a sector.
So I'm afraid to disappoint you. I can't announce a revolution immediately. Yeah? I think, I mean, obviously the traditional approach, and it's still what we hear in the information that's confirmed from studies and so on, is that consumers like their information on label. I mean, I think that's what we still hear at the moment. But that said, as I mentioned, we are willing to look at innovative solutions. We are having an exploratory study on what it means getting information by digital means and how consumers are reacting to that, which is why I think it's so interesting, the development that you've got, that we will have something out there in the marketplace as well, that be able to see what's happening. But we want, at the end of the day, a framework which is balanced for all alcoholic beverages, which is also the same for other food products as well. I think we've had this rather anomalous situation where the alcoholic products haven't been labeled as food products. So we want, I think, there more consistency across the piece and a balanced framework for all. So not immediately, but there may be a crack of light in there. Let's put it that way.
Can I put a few words on that one, please?
Of course, Irène.
Yeah, we had a specific wine intergroup, and we discussed a lot the impact of nutritional labeling. So the issues are somewhat different, because when we speak about FMCG products that people can buy in supermarkets, there is an issue about on-pack labeling, so that when they buy the thing, they know the level and the category. But we didn't want for wines and spirits to have trade-offs on this information. This is why the fact that we have some compulsory information on the label that is roughly around the alcohol level, and then we have what is on the digital platform is so well suited to the wine and spirit sector, because they are mainly dominated by very small companies that have small batches, but also we want the consumer to not make trade-off. If you buy a spirit, if you buy a wine, you buy something that has alcohol, it's not part of your health drink, it's part of your cultural drink, it's part of your festive life. It's not an everyday part of your food input. I don't know if I'm very clear on that, but for us, all the debate we had were very clear, and this is why I think that the things that have been proposed today is absolutely adapted to having the information that the consumer wants, without having trade-offs between calorie and alcohol, and without having too much difficulties for the small producers.
Thank you, Irène. I don't know if Commissioner is still online. No, Michael. Yep. So this is a question for DG Agri, DG Santé, the Commission itself. You have seen the platform. Happy to show it more in detail. Didn't cost a pound, €1 to European taxpayers, but now it's on your hands. So we are ready to open the capot and show you everything and accompany you. Use it as a pilot to modernize, to jump into the future. So how can we help you so that your evaluation, DG Agri future legislation on the wine aromatized goes to un bon port, and we can really advance in this together? How we can support you in this?
Thank you. I'm not going to surprise you by saying anything that deviates from what my commissioner just said. But let's just look at it all again in context. The Commission doesn't decide these things unilaterally. And if I take the very specific example of the CMO reform, the original proposal from the Commission didn't include anything in this particular area. And the Commissioner referenced it. It was on the initiative largely of Parliament that we introduced these mandatory requirements in relation to wines and aromatized wines. But again, as the Commissioner highlighted, building on that experience and essentially it'll be taken into account when the Commission comes forward with the future proposals on the FIC regulation and what emerges from the impact assessment. But I think the wines and aromatized wines sector in particular is in a very good position because it has been proactive. It decided to engage with the Commission on a regulatory solution to providing more information to consumers. The spirits sector, sorry Adam, was a little bit slower in that context. You did, to your credit, take, let's say, engage, but you chose to go through a voluntary code of conduct. Now, whether sufficient time will pass between the emergence of the impact assessment on the FIC and the actual presentation of the proposals to take account of the experience to date, because the CMO reform hasn't actually entered into force yet. But it's encouraging that the sector already in anticipation of it entering into force is putting in place these measures to ensure that from day one, it'll be operational, we'll have visible evidence on how it's working, etc. The Commission, I'm sure, will take that into account in whatever proposal it presents. And again, I get back, let's not forget it. This will go to the Council and Parliament. They will have their own views on what the Commission proposes, which may or may not coincide with it. But I would remain confident that we will get, let's say, a good overall solution. I think the spirits and wine sectors in general are both very aware and sensitive to the new climate in which we operate. There's a much greater emphasis on sustainability, nutrition, health, transparency, information to consumers. There's a much more awareness that you need to engage with the regulator, not frankly, this instinctive reaction that anything coming from the regulator is to be opposed, that administrative burden, red tape, etc. To the contrary. And I take from your own presentation, this is the kind of measures that are really essential to preserving the internal market and ensuring that goods can flow freely throughout the EU and that the EU in turn can lead at the international level in terms of setting standards. So, again, I think you come from a good place, but I'm not going to preempt what eventually emerges from the proposals that are presented.
I don't think there's much really to add to what Michael said, other than that the current timetable for the food information to consumers for the FIC is the end of 2022. As I said, we'll be doing another study as well to look at information through digital means. I think we know where you are, and if there are questions that come up in that context, we won't hesitate to come to you. It's true, it's a relatively limited period of time now that we'll have experience with your system. But I think nonetheless, it will be very helpful to have whatever results you get from that and share them with us.
Present yourself.
Yes, thank you. I'm Francesca Poggiali, I represent GS1. I'm very happy to be here today and congratulations, really, if I take it from where we started a few years ago. And I say we because GS1 was there to support. I mean, behind this wonderful result that you see today, there are standards that are enabling unique product identification. And so for us as well, it's a great day because the barcode is 50 years old this year. And imagine we can meet the future. So for us, this was really an amazing project. And I want to thank both Spirit Europe and Comité Van for the big effort that they put into this, because going through the data identification process is not an easy journey, but we are so glad that the standards are there to support. So you were speaking about the iceberg, the point of the iceberg. There is much more behind, and several colleagues have been working on this. So it's great to see that we can enable you know, the consumer information that companies would expect, especially small and medium as well. You mentioned them and they were there presenting. It was great to see them. So the standards are there, are available. We can meet the challenges. We can help companies meeting the challenges of the new era and to support, of course, all the regulatory needs. And we hope we can do this for, for the next century as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Francesca. Just to come in on there, I think that's also important for moving forward, a bit technology openness. And we're betting on the QR code in this platform, but just to add, and we had this in our implementation report, our Spanish colleagues are working very closely with GS1 Spain. And actually in Spain, the solution that is currently had in spirits is with a barcode solution. So more than 40% of spirits sold in the Spanish market, you can already get all this information in a similar way, not by scanning a QR code, but by using the barcode from GS1. So again, and that will also be interesting for the upcoming food information to consumers regulation. I think we need to, you know, it's a short time, as Claire said, until then, and the technology issues, the technology world is wide, but I think we need some guidance, we need some principles, I think, from the legislator, but we also need openness. You know, we don't, you know, that you can use the QR code, you can go with the barcode, and then we also need to see in the journey as we go along, consumer uptake, understanding. There are a lot of questions, and it's an open journey, but I think there, yeah, we need some bit, we need a common vision, we need some structural guidance on the road, but we also don't quite know where the journey will end up.
And if you don't mind, so there are a good number of questions online, both on YouTube and on Zoom. A good number of them are extremely technical. So what I made as a promise is that we will come back and we write all these questions. We will come back with an answer to these questions. On the U-Label platform, there will be a Q&A. So we'll try to offer an information and answer to those questions. And in any case, you can always reach Spirits Europe and Comité 20. Send email. Let's remember that this is at this stage a self-regulation approach. The wine will have a different situation soon. But I say we are there. You can contact us and we will give you all the answers you need if you want to join the platform and be part of the journey.
Thank you, Carol. Let's take a last comment from the floor. I think Jose Ramon, you wanted to say something.
Thank you very much, Ulrika and all participants. We are Pernod Ricard. We are proudly participating in the pilot with both products, wines and spirits. I don't want to be very long, just to say as you know, as showing what our company thinks, believes about this is we should not never lose track of mega trends, and the mega trends from our consumers, our engagement with them from our side is about adapting to what they are looking for information anytime, anywhere in their language with no barriers, because there is a piece of paper or material actually involved in that. So I can assure you that it's quite of a journey for even for a big company, let alone for small companies, to make the transition between passing from the current situation to providing a lot of this stuff information through digital tools which are innovative. And the question actually we say for the policy makers in general is that we cannot just work in silos by pieces of information. So we are talking here about nutrition, ingredients, health-related information, but we have also requirements from other policy areas about environmental marking. Tomorrow will be also about social ethical marking. Increasingly sophisticated pieces of information are always coming on the table. And also, frankly, today, the EU regulatory framework does not allow a bottle of wines or spirits to travel free through the internal market, because there is also language requirements that imposes specific linguistic versions for different markets. So digital, we think, is not only just for this discussion we are having today, it's probably a strategy for the European Union to consider how digital information to consumers could be definitely part of the solution in the future to be elaborated beyond the boundaries of only food information or environmental information in other areas. So the question is, could we expect reasonably that the European Union, when they are going to review, for instance, the FIC regulation in the framework of Farm to Fork or other pieces of legislation, can take a more holistic approach to start at to this area and come up with a real progressive, innovative solutions for digital information to consumers, leveraging on tools like this one, and of course, all this that will be developed in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, José Ramón. Claire, you want to react?
Maybe just two things in response to what you said, which is my previous job was on digital. So I'm all there for the innovative solutions if we can use them, but they have to be the right solutions for the consumers in this situation. And we have to be clear that the consumers are reading the information, right? So that's what we need to be looking at. On your point about requirements in other areas, yes, I'm painfully aware of that, because not only in the Farm to Fork strategy did we promise movement on the FIC, we also said we will come with sustainability labeling proposal. So we're in the middle of that too, and thinking about how we can do something that makes sense there, which would build on the nutritional information, environmental information, and then maybe animal welfare information as well, because we're going to be doing labeling on that. So yes, I mean, from my perspective, I think we have to take a holistic approach, and we have to, we have to see all these things together, and we have to be very much aware and conscious of the impact on business as well. I mean, we're concerned about the consumers, but we have to be clear about our businesses and the internal market as well, which is also where my heart lies, the digital single market and the single market more generally. So I hope we will certainly try. Let's put it that way.
Thank you. Simona, you want to make any final comment?
Well, yes, if I would be, let's say, an expert on labeling, like the Commission representatives here, what I wanted to say is that I think that the process we have gone through in the adaptation of the reform on the CMO regulation has shown that when we have rational proposals on the table, which take in a balanced way into account the interests of the consumers and the industry at the same time, then both co-legislators are really collaborating and taking decisions which on consensus. And I can tell you that on those provisions, when they came by the proposal of the European Parliament, the Council was absolutely having no questions or problems. So I think that that's also important for the future when the new legislation will come, and that's the role the legislature plays. So, and I'm looking forward when this comes. I will be not anymore in the presidency chair to present the presidency or to present the council, sorry, but looking at it from a perspective of a member state. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael, you want to say last word on behalf of our commissioner?
Frankly, not much to add. Yeah, that would be welcome. I can only emphasize once again that both sectors, wines and spirits, need to be really alert to the changed environment. And frankly, it was captured very well in the final concluding remarks that it's now much more than just about, let's say, the safety, the health, the nutrition, but it's the whole sustainability point. And I fully take your point that essentially we need to find solutions that give consumers access to a huge range of information because they're increasingly demanding. And other than digital, it's hard to see how that can be done. Otherwise, the label will be the size of that billboard that's behind you. So ultimately, solutions will be found. That's what Europe is very good at. We're very good at finding compromises that put the interests of all the different parties, basically reconcile them and allow us to innovate, move forward in a very progressive manner. And I'm quite convinced we'll do it here. Just one final remark that I didn't perhaps capture in my earlier point. When it does come to the presentation of the new FIC proposals, we won't have had the benefit of the experience of the new CMO regulation being enforced. But one obvious question that will arise, if this was sufficient in the CMO regulation to reach agreement after a long and laborious negotiation involving Council, Parliament and Commission, why would you now change it? And I'm already anticipating that question. I'll stop at that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think for the last 1 year and a half, I have never say, I don't want to be between you and the reception. And I'm happy to be able to say it. If we summarize today's presentation, I think one phrase came to my mind, which is you label this revolutionary. God, revolutionario. It's revolutionary because it isn't. It is revolutionary because it will protect single market, because it empowers consumers, because it will facilitate the life of our tiny and large and small and micro distilleries and winemakers. So it is really a revolution, but it isn't, because the digital is there, and just jumping into the reality of today should not be a revolution, should be just a reality. We need to adapt to our times. I think I've never been as afraid in the last 20 years. The other day I went out and I sensed that my smartphone wasn't with me. So I think you mentioned, Irène mentioned, technology and digital is with us every day, and we need to incorporate it to the legislation, to our lives and to our companies. So thank you very much, Ulrich, and let's enjoy our digital products. Thank you.